movies began accidentally when I married a producer, and
When Tremors first hit theaters in 1990, no one could have predicted it would grow into one of the most beloved cult classics of all time. From the terrifying Graboids to the mix of horror and comedy, the movie has left an unforgettable mark on pop culture. But behind the scenes, there are stories, secrets, and surprising details that even the biggest fans may not know. In this video, we're breaking down 20 facts about Tremors that will change the way you see the film forever. 1. What's in a name? From land sharks to Tremors. If we were to conduct a random interview with most movie producers, we would notice that almost every movie has a very great story behind its title, and Tremors is no exception. Did you know the title Tremor was not the first idea producers had? The original idea for the film was actually gotten from something the writers all jokingly referred to as land sharks. What are land sharks, you may ask? According to the writer's description, land sharks were simply sharks that, instead of swimming in the ocean, preferred to hunt people beneath the desert sand. While the phrase was more of a silly placeholder, it captured the essence of what they wanted, which, as of that time, was something terrifying lurking beneath the ground. As a result of this terrifying idea, they gave the project its first serious title, which was Beneath Perfection. This title was named after the fictional desert town where the story took place. The title just made sense. Perfection, which they equated to the town of Nevada, was cut off from the rest of the world, and what's lurking beneath it was deadly. Despite this brilliant idea, the producers felt it didn't quite pack a punch for the audience. In their years of experience, they understood one thing: titles were powerful, so powerful that they could either make or break a film's first impression. After several rounds of discussions, the filmmakers settled on the name Tremors. It was short, sharp, and immediately evoked the idea of the earth shaking. It also tied in beautifully with the way the Graboids, those monstrous underground creatures, were detected through vibrations in the ground. Now that the audience looks back, I am sure no one can imagine the movie being called Beneath Perfection. It sounds more like a soap opera than a thrilling creature feature. Final title wasn't just catchy, it was perfect marketing. When everyone saw the word Tremors on different posters, they just knew that they were about to see something very creepy but fun-filled, and that was just what the filmmakers wanted. 2. The idea was born from a Navy rock hike. One thing that Hollywood has taught us is that most of the wildest ideas often come from the very simplest moments. For S.S. Wilson, the writer of Tremors, the spark of the movie came to him when he was working on a safety training film for the U.S. Navy. It is not the ideal place that one would expect a monster movie inspiration. One day, Wilson was out on a hike in the desert. He sat down to rest on a big rock, surrounded by nothing but sand and silence. Then a thought popped into his mind. What if something was moving under the ground right now? What if I couldn't get off this rock because it would eat me the second I touched the sand? That single what if moment stuck with him, and years later, it became the seed of Tremors. This idea of danger lurking just below the surface is what makes the movie so effective. Please take a moment and really think about it. Just imagine the ground, the one thing that we know so much to be solid and safe, suddenly becoming the biggest threat. Safe to say that Wilson's wild imagination actually flipped an everyday landscape into a terrifying trap. Immediately he got the idea, he rushed to share it with Brent Maddock, his writing partner. Brent thought that this was his best idea yet, and immediately they began working and shaping this idea into a full story. They didn't want the movie to be just about giant worms. They wanted it to be about survival, a community, and most importantly, about turning the environment itself into the enemy. To date, it remains fascinating how a simple, casual day in the desert led to one of the most beloved cult horror films of the 1990s. 3. Tapping Ron Underwood's zoology insight.
Saw as many movies as I could and watched TV constantly.
One of the biggest questions that Brent and Wilson had when making this movie was, how were they going to make the creatures look believable? Ron Underwood came in here as the answer. Before Ron directed the movie Tremors, he had a background in documentaries and had even worked with National Geographic. So, he wasn't just another filmmaker trying to break into Hollywood. That meant he had spent a considerable amount of time studying the natural world and observing how real animals moved, hunted, and survived. Wilson and Brent already knew that they would need someone skillful enough to bring their scientific realism to their underground beasts called the Graboids. They picked Ron because they knew that his zoology insight would go a long way in helping them shape their behavior. So instead of being very random monsters, Ron would help them make Graboids feel like predators with instincts, biology, and most importantly, survival tactics. A good example of how Ron helped them was when the idea of vibrations came to light. Due to Ron's push for naturalistic behavior, he was able to suggest that they should be able to sense vibrations in the ground, much like a snake or other burrowing animals could do. That decision made the film so much scarier. After all, it wasn't just a worm popping out of the dirt. It was a creature that hunted with purpose, adapting to its environment the way real animals do. It's why fans still debate the biology of Graboids decades later. They feel strangely plausible. Ron's National Geographic past also influenced how the desert was filmed. Wide, sweeping shots gave the landscape a documentary-like feel, reminding viewers that this was nature, but one that had been twisted into something simply horrifying. Until now, people believe that if not for Ron's unique blend of science and storytelling, Tremors would have just been another boring monster story, but his distinctive style made the movie a cult masterpiece. 4. Filmed in a ghost town in California. Here is something most people don't know. The town of Perfection, Nevada feels so real, especially when you watch Tremors, but that town doesn't actually exist. The filmmakers of Tremors built the entire set in the California desert near the city of Lone Pine, with additional filming in Darwin, another small community that already had that abandoned ghost town vibe. Lone Pine has a long history in Hollywood. For starters, dozens of westerns were shot there, thanks to its rugged landscapes and stunning backdrop of the Sierra Nevada mountains. For Tremors, it was the perfect location, isolated, dusty, and cut off from the rest of the world. It was exactly the kind of place where giant underground monsters might thrive without anyone knowing. The crew constructed a full main street with buildings like Walter Chang's store and the homes of the residents. When they were done filming, the entire set was torn down, leaving nothing but desert behind. Trust me, if you visit that town today, you wouldn't find perfection. It's kind of like the town vanished back into the sand. This may have been a cost-effective move on their end, but it actually gave the movie the authentic and gritty feel it has. The sweeping shots of barren land and looming mountains made the threat of being trapped there even more terrifying. Just imagine being stuck in a tiny, dusty outpost with no way out, surrounded by invisible predators under your feet. That setting alone added layers of suspense. It's no wonder fans still make pilgrimages to Lone Pine to soak in the atmosphere. Even without the fake town, you can feel Tremors lurking in the rocks and sand. 5. Mountains and lakes in background shots. When you think of Tremors, the setting is almost as iconic as the monsters. The dusty town of Perfection feels completely cut off from the world, but if you look closely at the horizon, you'll notice something spectacular. In the background of several key scenes, especially near the climax, the towering Sierra Nevada mountain range and Owens Lake are clearly visible. These weren't just happy accidents. We have already established that the film was shot in and around Lone Pine, California, and this same location has been used multiple times in Hollywood productions. So if you are a movie freak, you might already know that Lone Pine sits in the Owens Valley, surrounded by dramatic landscapes. The majestic Sierra Nevadas provide a striking contrast to the otherwise bleak desert town, and Owens Lake, though dry for most of the 20th century, added an eerie, flat expanse that enhanced the feeling of isolation. These real mountains and lakes joined forces to give Tremors that sense of depth and realism. So, instead of relying on fake backdrops or sound stages, the filmmakers used nature's canvas to make the world feel alive. When Val, Earl, and the townsfolk are stranded, you can see the vast wilderness beyond, but because of how real it all looks and sounds, you can also feel how trapped they are. That's the power that comes with shooting at a good location. It ensures that viewers are not just watching actors, they are also experiencing a whole new world. 6. Low budget, high creativity. Hollywood loves big budgets, but Tremors proved you don't need millions of dollars in CGI to create lasting thrills. The film's budget was between $6.4 million and $11 million. Back in 1990, that figure was relatively small. This was a constraint to the filmmakers, but it also pushed them to become very creative. They had to improvise on many things. So instead of using fancy digital effects, they adopted more practical effects, including miniatures and impressive camera work. To bring the Graboids to life, they had to make use of full-size puppets, mechanical rigs, and they also used a clever trick like dragging different objects under the sand with wires. The result of this creative approach was monsters who felt solid, heavy, and most importantly, real. One famous trick was how they made the ground ripple as if something massive was moving beneath it. The crew laid large plastic sheets under the dirt and pulled them with ropes to create the illusion of shifting earth. It was simple, cheap, but incredibly effective. The small budget also forced the filmmakers to focus on suspense. Instead of showing the creatures outright, they teased the audience with vibrations, dust clouds, and sudden attacks. Since the audience couldn't see the monster right away, the movie became even scarier. This resourcefulness gave Tremors its charm. Till today, fans of this movie still say that the movie felt more real than today's CGI-heavy blockbusters. This movie taught Hollywood a valuable lesson. Sometimes the scariest films are not the most expensive. They are just the movies that always make the audience believe that something so impossible could actually be happening under their feet. 7. Realistic Graboids by Amalgamated Dynamics. It is no news that the stars of Tremors were Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward, but to most fans, the real stealers of the show were the Graboids. Shockingly, these underground monstrous hunters were not dreamed up on a computer. They were all handcrafted by the effects company Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated, ADI, founded by Tom Woodruff Jr. and Alec Gillis, who later worked on Alien 3 and Starship Troopers. These people designed the Graboids not only to look like aliens but also to appear believable. To make this happen, the entire team had to spend hours studying real animals, including snakes, worms, and even elephants. They did all of these. That scene had people thinking that they just didn't believe that Bert was ready for the end of the world, but they also saw that he had the firepower to back it up. The attention given to that scene soon made the elephant gun scene iconic, and fans often cite it as the ultimate Bert Gummer moment. It captured his blend of paranoia and heroism in a single, explosive moment. In a movie where most characters scramble with makeshift weapons and desperate plans, Bert casually whips out a gun designed to take down elephants. The filmmakers aim for something humorous and unforgettable in this scene, and they succeeded. The truth is that without that weapon, Bert might still be memorable, but with it, he became a legend in the history of monster movies. 9. Graboid guts were made of pumpkin. For a long time, most fans wondered exactly what those gooey and disgusting Graboid guts were actually made of. Well, every time their guts exploded, it wasn't CGI or buckets of fake blood. The truth behind that is something more funnier and stranger. During production, the effects team actually wanted something that looked slimy, stringy, and organic. The solution to this problem was a mixture of canned pumpkin, foam latex, and shredded nylon stockings. The pumpkin used gave the guts that thick, wet texture, while the foam pieces added volume, and the nylon gave it those stringy, tendon-like qualities. So, when you see Kevin Bacon or Michael Gross covered in dripping Graboid slime, you're really just watching them get coated in Thanksgiving leftovers. Brilliant, right? Well, that brilliance was taken from the place of simplicity. The pumpkin was cheap, safe, and easy to clean up. Well, easy based on Hollywood standards. The set still stank after the spilled guts stayed for long days under the desert sun, but that unpleasant smell actually helped the actors look genuinely disgusted. 10. Box office, modest hit, turned cult. Classic Tremors first hit the theater on the 19th of January 1990, and by this time it first premiered, it wasn't the hit the studio had desperately hoped for. Even after the movie opened in over 1,457 theaters, it still landed in 5th place at the box office. This was very unpleasant news for the filmmakers, and it only got worse for them when, after the movie had concluded its theatrical run, it earned just over $16 million. Its budget was around $11 million, so the filmmakers did not consider it a disaster, but it also wasn't a blockbuster. So what exactly happened? Well, part of the problem stems from the timing. The movie was rated PG-13, Yet its mix of horror, gore, and comedy confused marketers. Was it a monster movie for teens or a comedy for adults? Additionally, the trailers released for the film focused heavily on campy humor, which left the audience unsure of what to expect. In all these, Tremors still had something up its sleeve, and that was its home video. As soon as the film was released on VHS, it exploded in popularity. All of its rentals sold out quickly, and the syndication of the television show gave it even more exposure. Just like that, this modest hit had become a must-see film. Everyone who watched the film either fell in love with its balance of scares, laughs, or the lovable characters. Currently, this movie is regarded as one of the best monster movies of all time. Even when the box office numbers may not have been impressive in the 1990s, the cultural impact of the film remains undeniable. 11. Kevin Bacon. Once resented being in the cast.
Convinced, but I could tell you, to be brutally honest,
This may be difficult to believe, but Kevin Bacon was not always proud of Tremors. As a matter of fact, he once got so depressed by just being cast in the movie. The reason for this is not so far-fetched. You see, as of that time, Kevin had just gotten married to Kira Sedgwick, and they were expecting their first child. They didn't really have enough, and Kevin later admitted that he took on the role mostly because he needed the paycheck, not because he loved the character. He even added that he feared the movie would derail his career. In one interview, he recalled calling his wife in despair, saying, "I can't believe I'm doing a movie about underground worms. I think my career is over." Little did he know that the same role is what he would be celebrated for to this day. Back then, he just saw the whole thing as a mistake. The lukewarm box office didn't help his doubts. For a while, Bacon distanced himself from the movie, but something shifted over time. As Tremors found its cult audience through VHS and television, he began to see how much people adored it. Fans quoted his lines, praised his performance, and celebrated the film at conventions. As time went on, Kevin completely changed his heart and went on to say that filming Tremors was the most enjoyable experience he had while making a movie. He ended up loving the role so much that in 2018, he returned for a pilot episode of a new Tremors TV series. 12. Finn Carter nominated for a Saturn Award.
Called Up in Saratoga by Terrence McNally. And so I was...
While Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward carried much of the action, Finn Carter brought brains and heart to the mix. She played Rhonda LeBecq, the smart and resourceful seismologist who helped uncover the mystery of the underground monsters. Her performance struck the perfect balance of scientific, relatable, and surprisingly brave. Finn did such great work, and it didn't go unnoticed. In 1991, she was nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actress, presented by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. It was a big nod for a relatively new actress at the time, especially since Tremors wasn't taken seriously by critics upon release. To a large extent, everyone believed she deserved it because of the vital role her character played in the story. Literally, without her seismic expertise, the townsfolk might never have figured out the Graboids' hunting methods. She was also a refreshing female character for a 90s monster movie. In the movie, she was smart, capable, and not reduced to a cliché damsel in distress. That made her stand out not only to fans, but also to awards voters. Although Finn Carter didn't win the Saturn Award that year, her nomination confirmed her role in Tremors' history. For a film that struggled at the box office, recognition from the science fiction community was a sign that it had struck a deeper chord. 13. Burt Gummer, franchise staple.
And I play Burt Gummer in Tremors. I had been on a top 10.
Most people are unaware that Michael Gross, also known as Burt Gummer, is the only actor to appear in every single film and TV series. That's right. From the original Tremors in 1990, he has been a consistent presence through all the sequels. I'm talking about The Aftershocks, Back to Perfection, The Legend Begins, Bloodlines, A Cold Day in Hell, and even Shrieker Island in 2020, as well as the 2003 series. He has been in all of them, and that's more than 30 years of survivalism, gun-toting heroics, and sharp-witted one-liners. His enduring presence brings a sense of continuity to the franchise. No matter how wild the creatures or how different the settings, be it snow, jungle, or small desert town, the viewer will always get Bert stepping up, armed to the teeth, and ready to blow things up. Over time, he has managed to grow on fans, and they love him not just for the action but also for his personality. He is dutiful, paranoid, and always prepared. In fact, he won a Best Actor award from the DVD Exclusive Awards for his role in Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Michael Gross's commitment speaks volumes, and everyone can see it. As one fan on Reddit said, "He's been in every Tremors. I don't think they'd even begin making one unless they've already signed Michael Gross." And honestly, can you picture Tremors without Bert Gummer? Exactly. He's as official as the Graboids themselves. 14. Tony Hinaro as the character Miguel. In the movie, Tony Hinaro portrayed Miguel, the friendly rancher and town handyman, whose frantic recoil from the ground tremors and later fateful demise make him unforgettable. It's a cozy, human touch amidst the monster mayhem. Anthony Hinaro Acosta began acting in the 70s. He was seen in movies like Bunny O'Hare and La Bamba. However, the movie Tremors gave him one of his most memorable roles. Even though his character Miguel was brief, he was also very vital. He was so important that he even had to return to the role in Tremors 3, Back to Perfection. Sadly, Tony passed away on the 7th of May, 2014, at his home in Hollywood, California. He was 72 years old when he died. His death was confirmed by family and reported by outlets like UPI. Miguel is that neighborly face who brings a mix of comic relief and heartbreaking vulnerability. Remember the scene where he tries to warn the others about something moving underground, only for chaos to erupt? That moment has stuck with fans. 15. Graboids aren't worms. Exactly. Graboids have been nicknamed sandworms, but they are nothing like your typical earthworm. As a matter of fact, they are entirely fictional. These creatures are designed to be more than garden-variety worms. They sport massive, muscular bodies, able to reach lengths of around 30 feet and weigh up to 20 tons. In addition, they move through the earth with huge power. The inspiration for these creatures came from legends like the Mongolian deathworm, but after careful consideration, the designers sought to make them more dynamic and believable. Special effects artists assembled their design from many real-world creatures. They were designed to think like a shark, move like a slug, and look like a catfish. We can all agree that your average boring earthworm does not have these features. Also, the bodies of these graboids include an internal semi-rigid framework that they use to support all of their weight while they tunnel through the ground. Most people insist that the graboids have no classification. They are neither worms nor reptiles. So what exactly do you think they are? 16. Graboid tentacles, mouths, not lungs. Let's talk about those wriggling tentacles that surprise you in Tremors. At first glance, they appear to be dead ends, but then, suddenly, each one ends with a mouth equipped with sharp, toothy jaws. Unlike in most animals, the tentacles of the graboids are not for feeding. They are actually an extension of their throat. Those tentacles have been designed primarily for sensing and grabbing prey. According to the filmmakers, they function with taste-sensing ability, not inhaling food, but tasting objects to decide if they're edible. In one question-and-answer session, Tremors creators noted the tentacles are for grasping, sensing very subtle vibrations and feeling around. They have taste sensors inside the mouth like jaws, so when a tentacle's jaws close on something, the graboid can quickly tell if something is worth reeling in to eat. This small detail adds a new layer of horror, because now people know that behind every attack, there is an intention. Design-wise, the tentacles were originally supposed to look like medieval weapons or Swiss Army grappling hooks, but ultimately they evolved into a catfish-like natural look, with grappling hooks for teeth that spread and retract like petals, giving them a surprising and realistic look. 17. Perfection Valley, rough size estimate. Have you ever wondered just how vast Perfection Valley really is? Well, allow me to answer that question. Recently, the creators of Tremors have shared a rough but intriguing estimate. Imagine a valley stretching 30 to 50 miles long and several miles wide. That's the stage for their subterranean showdown, However, this isn't government data, it's a creative ballpark estimate, and it gives us a sense of the scale without tying us down to exact numbers. The real magic lies in the feeling of horror that the tiny, isolated town, trapped in a sprawling desert void with graboids slipping underground at any moment, evokes in people. However, fans and fandoms have added to the mystery of the place, and some have even tried to map the Perfection Valley on Tremors wikis and fan sites. Some fans estimate the dimensions to be approximately 50 miles by 10 miles. However, the creators were smart enough not to pin it down too precisely. That gives the film room to breathe and your imagination room to run wild. 18. Exhibit at Lone Pine Film History Museum. Most people who want to see Tremors up close still visit the Lone Pine Film History Museum in California, as it is there that the film's legacy lives on. That location features an entire Tremors exhibit, showcasing props such as a graboid head, a miniature of Chang's Market, and other creature miniatures from later films. It is worth noting that this isn't your average display case. Over time, fans have described it as a jaw-dropping experience. One visitor shared on Reddit, "It's a teeny-tiny museum, but it had a whole room devoted to Tremors stuff. For only a $5 donation, it's worth it." Imagine standing next to that towering Graboid model, taller than us, as one visitor remarked. This museum does not just display props used in the movie, it has a special way of connecting you to the very roots of the film. The exhibit brings everyone who visits it into the universe of Tremors. It gives you the feeling of not just seeing an exhibit, but also stepping into a cinematic Wild West where monsters are waiting underground. 19. A long-running franchise. What started as a one-off monster movie in 1990 soon became a full-blown franchise. Currently, Tremors includes 6 sequels and a 2003 TV series, with even a 2018 TV pilot starring Kevin Bacon, though it was ultimately canceled. After the original film, the filmmakers noticed how much people loved it, and so they rolled out more direct-to-video. They had Tremors 2, 3, 4, 5, A Cold Day in Hell, and Shrieker Island in 2020. Each of those new videos came with new settings and monsters. Despite some of these remakes being canceled and others refusing to stray from the course, the franchise still refuses to die. All the fans of this movie keep digging in every time a new one drops. They laugh at new creature designs and root for the classic characters while hoping for more. 20. A new sequel in development but not a remake. Recently, the fans of Tremors got some very exciting news. As of April this year, Stampede Entertainment, the original creative team, has regained its rights to the Tremors script and is currently developing a sequel. According to rumors, they are planning a Return to Perfection story, and intriguingly, Kevin Bacon may return as Valentine McKee, but no promises. This isn't a dust-off with a new cast. It's a continuation, with the original team at the helm. They're exploring 1 or 2 more outlandish ideas featuring graboids in new settings. It is worth noting that there is no Tremors series coming to Netflix. That is a misleading social media rumor. However, fans can still enjoy episodes of the 2003 show on Tubi, and the films are available on platforms like AMC Plus and Prime Video. Did any of these behind-the-scenes facts about Tremors surprise you, or did you already know some of them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie facts and untold stories. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.